everybody, and welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk, and this, my friends, is The Thunder Show, aka the internet's most passionate wine program. And today, we are going to do a very interesting show. We've decided to pair wine with bacon. Bacon has become like this underground, big topic of conversation all over the internets, and I said, you know, I'm an internets kind of guy, so why don't I do a wine show with bacon? I like the bacon, I want to eat the bacon, I'm trying to work on the cholesterol, so I'm not eating as much bacon as I'd like to, but what wines would go well with bacon? You know, and I really tried to give it some thought, and I put together 4 different kinds of wines that I think have the potential to play nicey nice with the bacon, and that's what we're going to do today. We're also going to taste Conundrum, which is I think our 3rd biggest selling wine every year. This is, if you don't know what this is widely, in my opinion, if somebody said, what are people's favorite wines? This is the first thing that comes to my mind. There are so many people watching this right now and walking, that was me doing the walking thing, walking the universe that think Conundrum is their favorite wine in the world. You can find it in so many restaurants. It's extremely popular, and I'm excited about trying it on the show. It originally was called Caymus Conundrum, and that's where it kind of built its base from. Then I think there's a divorce and all this crazy stuff. Comments, Mott. Oh, but you know what? I've missed it twice now, Mott. Let's go right into it. I'm not going to even waste any time. Happy birthday, Susan B. You know, I forgot that, you know, Mott, you yelled at me again. So happy birthday, Susan B. Let's go reading in the comments. I'm really enjoying this part. The amount of comments you guys are leaving in each blog post is extremely exciting, and I definitely feel the interaction, love, and I hope you continue to do it because there's a lot of funny stuff in there, a lot of quality content. I actually said last night to Lizzie, I was like, you know what? People should read the comments and not watch the show, and they can learn about wine. Wayno DeWino, longtime viewer. Yoji, great Thunder and cool vinos, but easy on the bacon. Not good for the cholesterol level. True, but I didn't listen to you. Question of the day, small talk good. Bring on the flab. And question of the day, legit. I like it. Hefe says, for the love of God and all that is holy, do the bacon. Give me wine and bacon TV, and I'll never visit another website. Mott, that's going to at least spike our traffic by 1 person a day. Now into other stuff than bacon. Keep the conversation going. The off-topic rambling is what keeps the show vibrant, real, and not, least of all, interesting when the wines aren't up my alley. Question of the day, when I hear the word legit, I think of Hammer. A lot of people thought of MC Hammer. I know I ate first to the party, but the baggy pants one owns is the word straight up. Mobsters who've started paying their taxes are a distant second. Bacon. Fabby says, dude, keep the small talk coming. Appreciate it. Matthew Mansfield says, I just got turned on to your show by a friend and thought that keeping on topic is a plus, but without the idle random topic you don't learn those facts about the wines. So please continue with the whatever pops in your head, excuse me. And finally, Adam says, hi Gary, love the Thunder Show. You mentioned bacon, and I was in Napa a few weeks ago and had a cab at Del Dado that tasted exactly like bacon. I think it was an 05 out of the barrel. You probably won't read this posting though. Mott, I gotta give it to Adam. He was smart enough. He suckered me in, and that's why I read it. Let's get into the vino. Conundrum, 2007 white table wine blend of Sauvignon Blanc, Muscat, Canelli, Chardonnay, and Viognier. John Bolta still making this wine. I brought out the big ass glass today because it's a big occasion, the bacon show. 20 bones. And which is crept up. It was normally a $13 plate. Let me give you a little history about Conundrum. Put it up here a little bit with me. Conundrum became this huge phenomenon in the mid-90s because it was owned by Caymus Conundrum. It was an alternative to Chardonnay. People were drinking Chardonnay back then like there was no other drink. It was like Chardonnay or Santa Margarita Pinot Grigio, and you were drinking no other white wine. I'm not kidding. It was that insane, 15 years ago. Conundrum came out. It was a $12, $13 play. It got a 90-point score from Spectator, and away it went. Because of the Muscat, there's a little bit more of that sweetness and fruit. The Viognier, things that people weren't tasting back then, it became this huge phenomenon and became extremely allocated and would sell out so quickly and really went on to become one of the more popular non-Chardonnay white wines in California. Along those lines, I don't know the details, but I know there was a divorce in the Wagner family, and I think that's where the Conundrum became its own brand. So I know it's not part of the Caymus umbrella anymore. 20 bones, so it's crept up in price over the last couple of years. I've been an on-again, off-again fan of the wine. I remember the 97 vintage rocked my face off. Here we go. Let's do it 10 years later and see what's going on here. And then we'll taste it with the bacon. Let's give it a sniffy sniff. And this is the part. Ian was just opening it up at my desk. Well, opening it up by opening the screw top, and smelled it and went wild. He was like, oh my God, the nose. This has always been the play for this wine. This is an amazingly delicious bouquet. You get papaya, you get bananas on the nose, a little mango fruit. This is where the Muscat really shows its wares. A lot of producers, if you want to start revving up the snippy sniff, which I think is massively underrated. I don't believe people smell their wines enough. It's a big part of the experience. Muscat in white wines, Viognier in white wines, has a lot of potential to bring those aromatics to the forefront. So give a little thought to maybe spraying a little 3-4% action in there, 2%. I think it could be kind of, interesting. One more time. Apricots, fresh fruit, almost like a little Febreze action as well. Little like stuff you'd keep in the bathroom. Let's give it a whirl. Good fruit, very vibrant. Again, tangerines, pears, papaya, very tropical on the mouthfeel. Better acidity than I remember. Huge plus for me and any hardcore Riesling fan. We're getting a little bit more of that action. I wouldn't say they brought out the switchblade and cut my tongue, but I would say that it's bringing a lot of good fruit. I like it. It's kind of basic a little bit in its approach. A little sugar-fied for me, a little sweet, but I promise you right now, this, my friends, is the wine you've been looking for those people that you always, I get a lot of emails like this. Hey, I'm just getting into wine. What should I get? Or my girlfriend or my boyfriend wants to get into wine. They like it a little more sweet. This is an interesting play because it's not completely sweet like a white Zinfandel, but the Muscat definitely gives an essence of fruit and sweetness. To me, this comes across like an 88-point wine by itself. Not bad. 20 bones, starting to push the envelope, and we're a discount shop, so probably 25 and then like 50, 60 on lists, but not the worst thing in the world. That acid on the back end definitely is doing more for it than it did in the past. Let's see what it does with bacon. So here we go, a little bacon, wild boar bacon. Oh no, this is going to be a fun show. All right, bacon, delicious. See if it changes the wine. Now, you can just tell, your entire palate gets oiled up from the fattiness. So you're definitely going to have a different experience every time you taste a wine with it. Let's see what's going on here. This is why I do this. Honestly, this is fascinating. It's not super fascinating. Anybody who's into food and wine kind of knows it's going to happen. But if you can replicate this at home, go out, get some bacon, find a Conundrum. This example right off the top is staggering. This wine changes quite a bit. The fat kind of mutes a lot of the tropical zest vibrance, but creams out the wine. And all of a sudden, where I felt like the Sauvignon Blanc and the Muscat was what really danced and kind of made the statement of the wine, all of a sudden this wine tastes a whole lot like a Chardonnay Viognier blend to me. Fascinating, to say the least. Let me give it one more shot. And of course, on the second taste, some of the fattiness washed away with the last thing. Now you're getting a little bit more of a blend. I'll tell you what, I think the bacon enhances this wine in body. It feels like a bigger wine than it did before. Strips it of some of its pizzazz, some of that fruit that I love so much, and that zestiness and that acid is completely blanketed now, and that shows that this wine can't really cut through. You know how sometimes we talk about the acid cutting through any food? When you have a white wine that holds up the acid, and no matter how fatty the food is or big the food is, you still taste it. Those are exciting wines to me. It's kind of like making its presence felt. This wine doesn't. It kind of folds like a deck of cards. Sad. But at the same token, it does bring out some of its creaminess factors, so I wouldn't say it's better or worse, it's just different, and it's really going to come down to your palate. Are you more into that zesty, tropical, zest? I love the word zest. Or are you looking for more of that creaminess, more of a Chardonnay Viognier drinker? The bacon in this wine really changes the game quite a bit and gives you a totally different dynamic. All in all, at 20 bones, I'd probably give it a pass, but an 88-point score is not horrible by any means, and it's probably better than I thought, to be honest with you, because the last two experiences I had with the 05 and the 04, I think were the last two I had, I was like, oh man, this really jumped the shark, So, all right, Cape Mentel, 2005 Chardonnay, a little older. I think it's important to understand. Margaret River Chardonnay, 19 bucks, 90 points, Josh Reynolds. Margaret River, to me, I mean, I'm going to admit here that I've been a little bit guilty of pigeonholing and being a little prejudiced towards Australian wines, always talking about Barossa, McLaren Vale, fruit bombs, all that jazz. And I really think that that Margaret River, with their Cabernets, Rieslings, and Chardonnays, need to become more of the conversation. And that's why I kind of brought on this show. I think this show is going to be watched a lot because of the bacon. And I want to make sure that people in this, I'm going to give you a little secret message. It's like those after-school specials we used to watch. It'd have like Mr. T, but he's like, don't do drugs. You're like, oh, okay, don't do drugs. I'm kind of sneaking this in. You watched it because of the bacon, but I want to sneak a little tidbit. Margaret River is a place you need to explore more in Australia. It's not just about Yellowtail or the fruit bombs from Barossa that got all those Parker scores and now are so out of fashion. There's a lot of balance in Margaret River, and Cape Mentel has done a good job with a lot of different wines. This is their Chardonnay, 19 bones, not inexpensive, but not horrible. 90 points, Josh Reynolds, who writes for Stephen Tanzer's International Wine Cellar, a critic that I enjoy quite a bit. I think he has a very good palate and really scores a lot of things in the range I do, so I like him. Let's give it a sniffy sniff. Kind of light in color, but a little goldiness, a little cloudiness. Wouldn't you say, Ma? Just a hair, like kind of gold, and not this crisp, clear, goldenette. Wow. I just picked up a little sniff there. Hold on. Okay. There's a very substantial chance I'm not going to like this wine right off the bat. This smells like a helium balloon filled with oak chips. So I get this like helium kind of balloon thing going on, and I get bombarded with enormous amounts of, the oak monster. And he scares me, because when he gets going, there's really no stopping him. He just completely takes over wine, and you're like, what was there? It was like a tornado. He really should be the oak tornado. Yeah, this helium is like so, I mean, I don't know what it is, like the inside of a balloon. Very close to that racquetball smell I picked up on the Today Show. Now, a lot of people haven't seen the Today Show. Let's link that up. We got that, right? Link that up with the racquetball with Roker, the second one, all right? Gotta get Mott to link up a little. So, little helium, a little bit of, the oak is actually blowing away, and more of this plastic balloony thing is going on now. I get a little golden apple, so it saves the day a little bit. And a hint of pear, just a hint, though. Let's give it a whirl. I got tricked a little bit. Not as oaky as I thought. And as a matter of fact, it's very Mott apple sauce on the back end. I get a lot of apple flavors on this wine. Granny Smith, Red Delicious, almost like a variety of like different apples into an apple salad. Good acid also, not bad. A little too much heat, 14.5 alcohol I see on the back. It's a little hot for me, but I wouldn't say you really see the alcohol. And it is at room temperature. If it was a little cooler, which is the majority of the way you guys are going to drink it, that'd probably go away. Let's see what happens with the bacon. This is the best. Maybe we should become a wine and bacon show. Okay, let's see what's going on. Doing a little less transforming this wine than the last wine. Again, it does lift up the body weight because of the fattiness in your mouth. I don't like this pairing as much. And I don't really love the wine as much either. I think it's really one-dimensional Chardonnay. I don't mind apples, but if it's the only thing you bring to the party, I'm going to be bored. And that's what this Cape Mentel does. To me, this is probably an 86-point wine. This is a rare occasion where Josh and I are, usually I'm scoring higher than Josh if we don't agree, but not in this case. I think this is kind of boring, lacking any kind of distinction, just kind of that kid in your class. Like lately, I was on this kick for a long time that I knew every single kid I graduated with, but then like Facebook came out and like a couple of these people were in my class, I'm like, oh my God, I really don't know that person. That's what this wine is. Even though you remember 250 of the kids in your class, there's 30 or 40 you don't. This is one of the wines you don't. And that means you don't want to really spend 19 bucks if you have my palate. There are plenty of people out there right now in Australia, London, because it's a big brand in the UK, other places that love this wine, and God bless you, trust your own palate. But I'm telling you, it lacks charisma, and that to me is a no-no. Even though it spends 9 months in French oak, I give them credit for being balanced and not taking away any of the fruit by over-oaking, but at the same token, pretty boring, doesn't change much with the bacon. 86 points, 85 points, and I know you can't get there, Mott. Let's move on. I can't get the plastic, the balloon smell just keeps coming through. All right, let's rinse. Let's talk about Chambolle Musigny. Oh, no, that's the next one. Let's not talk about Chambolle Musigny. Let's talk about Provence. Chateau Paradis, 2006. This is a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon, Syrah, and Grenache. 20 bones, and 90, is it 91? 91 points, Robert Parker. Pretty interesting wine. Chateau Paradis, I'm trying to remember right now. I'm looking at it. I don't think so, but somewhere I was trying to stop by and see their wines. It's a very interesting brand. There's been a lot of hype around this wine. It's a very kind of interesting blend, Cabernet with, the Syrah and the Grenache, so you get that Bordeaux blend with the Rhone blend kind of thing going on. We're seeing more of that, but not crazy amounts. 91 points Parker, 20 bones on paper for a wine from France, with the euro where it's at, starts getting kind of exciting. I thought this could be a very interesting play. On paper, in my mind, I was like, this wine could really rock with the bacon. This has great, great color. Let's give it a snippy sniff. Oh, this is a really good nose. Wow. Yeah, this has been getting a lot of heat from a lot of sommelier friends of mine. I noticed I had like 3 or 4 emails in my inbox, so I decided, hey, we should bring this in. I forwarded it along. We brought it in. Great cranberry. Mott, smell this. I get like this great kirsch cherry, like real cherry juice, but this great cranberry, very vibrant red kind of fruit in my nose. What do you think?
It's very good.
You like that nose? Nice, right? Yeah. Little rosy, kind of little floral action as well. Picking up a little, but cranberries, right? I mean, this really smells like Ocean Spray. Ocean Spray. No, I'm just kidding. People don't think we got plugged for Ocean Spray. Really Ocean Spray-esque. Little cassis, chocolate. This is a very good nose, and this hasn't been open long at all. I think this could open up quite a bit, and with decanting, I'd love to see where this nose goes. I'm very optimistic off the bat. Let's give it a whirl. This wine is legit. A very serious wine. Big, wow. Big, firm, tight tannins on the back end show you this wine. You know what this wine just said to me? Like, be careful. Don't just treat me as a delicious drink. I've got, it's kind of like, as a guy, a beautiful girl, but you know what? She went to Harvard and Penn, and she's much smarter than you, so don't just limit it to that. And there's guy versions, Mott, for example. So, that's what this wine's doing. On that back end with that tannin structure and that grip on the palate, it's telling me, hey, yeah, I'm 20 bones, and definitely I'm delicious, but there's a lot more going on here. I would tell you, based on the tannin structure on the back end of this wine, I believe this wine could last 15 to 25 years. I'm not kidding. That's a long time for a wine from this region and this price point, but this wine is quite serious. Wow, the back end is incredible. I get this really interesting dried cranberry flavor that translates from the nose to the palate in the mid palate. It gets really dry cranberry-esque. You feel like you went to one of those, Whole Foods mini stores and paid like $19 for like a bag of dried cranberries. Good fruit, strawberry on the back end as well is pretty obvious. Let me give it one more shot. I'd be flawed in not telling you that there's clearly some oak introduction here because it's extremely creamy, and so almost like that Cabernet play does present itself in the beginning of the attack, but it finishes so strong with the tannins. I mean, it's like a punch in the face. I'm very optimistic with the bacon pairing. Let's see what happens. Wow, you like bacon? Mm-hmm. How much?
A lot.
Do you eat it constantly?
Not constantly, no.
Constantly.
I never met a bacon I didn't like.
I hear you. All right, delicious bacon. Let's give it a whirl. Interesting. First off, right off the bat, the wine's much drier with the bacon and the fat in your mouth. I get a much drier component in the beginning. On the flip side, you know what it did? On the flip side, it's extremely smooth on the finish, and the tannins have calmed down quite a bit. So it almost reversed, whereas in the beginning, I didn't feel that dryness, kind of that, austere kind of aspect to it by itself, but with the bacon fat and the bacon, I do. But on the finish, where clearly, if you just watched the last 3 minutes, I was really pounding home the bitter, strong tannins of this wine. All of a sudden, with the bacon, it's becoming much smoother on the back end. This is a home run effort. This wine is extremely serious, and I think this is where Parker really shows his merit. He has a lot of guts going into different places, giving big scores to wines that are not traditionally known for really bringing the thunder. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to even one-up Robert Parker. I'm going to go 92 plus points on this wine, and at $20, one of the more spectacular efforts. What really gets me excited about this is I don't want you to drink it for the next 24 months, and I'm not kidding. This is a put-away wine at a price that's normally, left for drinking wine. Very serious stuff. Again, 15 to 20 minutes opening was not enough here, what we did with the wines. Unfortunately, just tight schedule today. I would tell you 3 to 4 hours of breathing by the bottle or 2 hours of decanting. Clearly, even with the food, how it smooths out, this wine has big potential, and one of the more interesting wines we've had on the show in a while. I'm really seduced by the overall flavor. The bouquet is tremendous. The nose is right on. Good wine. Good wine. I'm excited. Let's move on. Wow, that was really good. Pinot Noir. Might have maybe should have done that third instead of fourth. That one was a little big. Got mixed up a little bit there. Even, did you see subconsciously I said the Chambolle Musigny was next? Ian screwed me up with his order. I wasn't paying attention. Hudel Bay 2004 Chambolle Musigny, $30 US, 88 points, Allen Meadows. Chambolle Musigny is a very interesting part of Burgundy. 94 hectares are planted of what's called Chambolle Musigny. Then there's Premier Cruz, which 61 hectares are planted for, and there's 24 hectares left for Grand Cru. So there's 3 levels of Chambolle Musigny. This is the entry level. That's why you can get it for $30. Chambolle Musigny can get quite expensive. 100% Pinot Noir for the people out there that don't know. Any red Burgundy is going to be Pinot Noir based. You can see a much lighter color. Pinots are always fun because you can see your fingers through them. And if you're drinking a Pinot Noir from California and you can't see your fingers through it, they're cheating by pouring in some Petite Sirah. Just saying. Let's give it a sniffy sniff. Pinot was a very interesting play. I mean, when I think of bacon, I think of a lot of French cuisine, different meals with, bacon being scattered around. So I always think of this Burgundian kind of play in my mind. Let's give it a sniffy sniff. Green City, USA. Very vegetal. Bell peppers coming across right away. I mean, this is what you love about Pinot. You don't know if you're going to get poop or if you're going to get some veggies. This time it was veggies. It's like the Pinot Noir slot machine from Burgundy. Am I going to get the poop? Veggies, veggies, veggies. All right, that's what you got here. Sometimes you get poop, 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 and sometimes, poop, veggies, poop. I mean, you really don't know what you're going to get. This time we went veggie, veggie, veggie. Yeah, veggie, veggie, veggie. I get radish top. I get celery. Bell green peppers all day. Let's give it a whirl. Thin, like Pinot, really like vegetal, and I like that. You guys know I like the bell peppers. You know I like Chinon. If you've been watching for a while, I prefer vegetables to fruit, but this is extremely green, which is kind of fine with me, but I know it's going to turn off a lot of people. Though it's too light for me. This is extremely light, even for Pinot standards. I find it very thin and almost watery. Water boy. Where's Adam Sandler? Like that kind of stuff. So I'm a little bit worried about that. I think that's going to turn off a lot of people. I'll give it one more shot. There's a little leather. There's a little, the celery stick is really, feels like it was shoved directly in my mouth and hurt because they're kind of strong. Yeah, I'm not super duper feeling it, and I'm upset because I had big, big aspirations for this wine as well. Especially, I would have loved to find a $30 value for you guys in Burgundy. It's not doing it yet. Let's see what happens when the bacon gets introduced. I want to really make sure my palate's ready. Plus, it's the last time I get to eat the bacon. if you're wondering, the bacon got 100 points today. Delish. All right, let's give it a whirl. A little bit better. Definitely, the fat is really helping this. I was opening my mouth, I got excited, and then this finish started to linger a little long. This is a pretty bad Pinot. I mean, I'm not feeling this at all. Allen Meadows is so tough. Shocked by the 88 points Meadows, but wines are in different stages. This is 04, it's evolved. People have different palates. I could be completely out of my mind, but I don't think so. And I know my palate. I'm gonna go 78 points in this wine and give it a major pass. Really would stay away from it, like the Black Plague or SARS or something like that, bird flu. You just have no interest in this wine, in my opinion. Stick to the bacon on this one. This is the big takeaway. Go to your local serious wine shop. Find Chateau Paradis. Really good effort. And I do think this is important to understand. I think the Conundrum is a very interesting wine play for a lot of people out there. If you're just getting into it, I do believe this is a wine that will appeal to a lot of people. Question of the day. I guess I should ask about bacon. We've talked a lot about it. How do you enjoy bacon the most? How do you eat bacon? Do you like it chopped up in salads, fraise, by itself, raw? Raw, a lot of Russians, vodka, and you eat raw bacon. Hardcore. It's like salad, it's a little different. Whole different scene. How do you enjoy your bacon? And also, in the comments, because I'm reading them, why don't you throw me a little question? Got a question for me? Throw it in there. Two-parted. Fun times. Bacon's delicious. You! With a little bit of me, we are changing the wine world.